Hello students, in this exercise we are going to create a sequence diagram using Umbrello UML modeler and then generate C++ code from our UML model. So let's start by opening Umbrello. In the Umbrello window, go to the diagram menu as shown in the picture. So here we can see the new option which gives us different types of UML diagrams such as class diagram, sequence diagram, communication diagram, use case diagram and others. So for this exercise we are interested in the sequence diagram, so which is shown here. Now moving on to the next slide, I am creating a new diagram, new, and in new I am choosing a sequence diagram. So, a sequence diagram is used to represent the interaction between different objects or participants in a particular sequence. So, click on the sequence diagram to create a new sequence diagram. Then we move on to the next slide. So, here if you see, after selecting the sequence diagram, Umbrello asks us to enter a name for the diagram. So in this example, the diagram is named as a sequence diagram as shown here. But for this exercise, we can enter a name required for our activity. So in our example, I have given or I will give a name as ATM sequence diagram as we are going to work on an ATM withdrawal, or you can also name it as a online shopping sequence diagram as we are working on a sequence diagram created for online shopping. So you can give any name you want depending upon the application which you are going to work upon. So next, I have created a sequence diagram and I have named it as ATM sequence diagram. You can name it as online shopping, whatever, depending upon your application. Now we can see that the sequence diagram has been created. In the left side under diagrams, here you can see both the class diagram and our new sequence diagram. The sequence diagram is also opened as a tab in the main working area. That also you can see. At this point, the diagram is empty. Our next task is to add the participants. Now, Now we are going to add participants to our sequence diagram. I have shown an example. I have taken an example of online shopping system. So in this example, we have four participants: the customer, the shopping system, the product user database, and payment gateway. These participants represent the different entities involved in our interaction. Notice that each participant has a vertical dashed line below it. This is called as the lifeline, which represents the participant's existence during the interaction. Add all four participants and arrange them from left to right as shown here. So, a customer, shopping system, product user database, and payment gateway. Arrange them clearly from left to right. Now, moving on, we can see you have to give messages between these participants. So, for that, we are choosing this. Now, we are ready to create the messages between the participants. So, on the toolbar, we can see the synchronous message option. So, this is the synchronous message option. A synchronous message represents a call from one participant to another where the sender waits for the operation to complete. For our first interaction, the customer will send a login request to the shopping system. So select the synchronous message tool and draw the message from customer to the shopping system. Now, next slide, moving on. After drawing the message, you can see after drawing the message, Umbrello displays a select operation window. Here we can see the sequence number, class operation and custom fields. First, for our first message, we are going to use the custom operation login. So our custom operation is login. So enter login in the custom operation field and click OK. This creates the login message between the customer and the shopping system. So here you can see we have created a message, synchronous message between customer and the shopping system called as login. So now our first login message is visible. Next, the shopping system communicates with the product or user database. The operation is verified login. So we create another synchronous message from shopping system to product user database. So this demonstrates how one participant can send a request to another participant as a part of the same sequence. So like this we create all messages between all the participants in the system. So the completed sequence diagram looks like this. Now we can see the sequence of interactions between in becoming more complete. The customer sends the login request, the shopping system sends the verification request to the product user database. The result is returned to the shopping system and then the customer adds a product. The shopping system communicates with the product user database to add the product to the cart. The customer can also apply coupon, which is optional. Finally, shopping system communicates with the payment gateway to make the payment. The payment status is returned, the payment is confirmed, and finally the order is confirmed to the customer. Notice the number of messages. The numbers help us understand the order in which the interactions occur. So now you can see the whole sequence diagram which is being created and all the messages created in order. So here is a closer view of the completed sequence diagram. We can clearly see four participants: customer, shopping system, product user database, payment gateway. The messages include login, verify login, then login result, add product to cart, apply coupon, make payment, then we get the payment status, then confirm payment and order confirmed. This gives us the overall interaction flow of the shopping system. Before we move to the next step, make sure your sequence diagram contains the required messages. Now, we can also we are going to make our sequence diagram more meaningful by adding a combined fragment. So on the toolbar, select the combined fragment. We have already seen about option, opt, alt and loop. When do we have to use all these? We have already seen. So let me repeat it once more. Option is used for optional choice. If you have any, you can use opt. And loop is used for adding more elements one by one, uh, particular number of times, or repeated repetitive actions, you can use loop. And then alt is used for alternate decision making. So all these three can be used inside your sequence diagram using this combined fragment tool. So on the toolbar, select the combined fragment tool. Umbrello then asks us to select the type of combined fragment. So we can see several options including option, reference, break, loop, negative, critical, assertion, etc. For our example, we want to represent a repeated action. So we select loop. As you see here, we select loop. Then now we can see the combined fragments in the sequence diagram. The first fragment is a loop, which is the condition more than one product. Inside this loop, the customer can add a product and the shopping system can add product to the cart. We also have an opt or option fragment for applying a coupon. The condition or operation shown here is related to the coupon code. So the sequence diagram now represents both repetition and an optional action. A loop for more than one product and an optional selection for applying a coupon. Make sure necessary and relevant messages are inside the correct fragment. Now, having done with the sequence diagram, we move on to the code generation part. Now we have completed our sequence diagram and we can move to code generation. So from the Umbrello menu, select code. Here we can see options such as code importing wizard, code generation wizard, generate all code, etc. For this exercise, select code generation wizard. So once you select the code generation wizard, the code generation wizard opens with the code generation options. Under language, select C++. We also need to specify the folder where all generated files will be stored. And that is what is being done here. Choose your required output folder, then click Next. The wizard now asks us to select the classes for which we want to generate the code. In this example, the selected classes are Customer, Payment Gateway, Product User Database, and Shopping System. Move the required classes to the classes select area and click Next. Now, we are at the status of code generation progress screen. The classes that we selected are listed here. You can see Customer, Payment Gateway, Product User Database, and Shopping System. Initially, the status shows that the code is not yet generated. Now, click the Generate button below to start the code generation. After code generation is complete, we can see the status changing for each class with the successful generation indicated in the status column. Once everything is successfully generated, click Finish. Now, once let's open the folder that we selected for code generation, which we had mentioned in the previous slide. So this is the folder where we wanted this tool to create the C++ code and store it. So now let's open the folder that we selected for code generation. Here we can see the generated C++ files. For customer, we have customer.h and customer.cpp. Similarly, we have files for the payment gateway, the product user database, and a shopping system. Notice that each class has a .h header file and a .cpp source file. This confirms that Umbrello has generated the C++ code files for our selected classes. Now, finally, we are opening each .h file and a .cpp file. Here we can see that the C++ class declaration for customer. Umbrello has generated the class structure including the public section and the constructor and destructor declarations. The generated file also contains sections or attributes and accessor methods. This is the final result of our UML to C++ code generation process. Remember that the code generation gives us the C++ class structure from the UML model. The actual application logic may still need to be implemented in the generated source files. So we are able to identify the class name, the public section, the constructor, and the destructor, and the generated attributes and the methods. If you can see these elements, then it is assumed that we have completed the exercise successfully. So now let us quickly recap what did we do. We created a sequence diagram in Umbrello. We added the participants and synchronous messages. We created operations such as login, verify login, and all other 10 messages. We added a loop and an optional fragment. Then we opened the code generation wizard, selected the C++, selected our classes, and generated the code. Finally, we verified the generated .h and .c++ CPP files. Now complete the same exercise using the umbrella which you have downloaded using the exe file. Thank you.